D365 screen. Can you see my D365 screen now?
No, we can't.
You can't?
No, yeah.
Okay, bear with me 1 second. I might have to reshare it.
What started?
Right, I'm sharing it now. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So for the purposes of today's session, as I said earlier on, we're going to look at security in general. And there's various aspects of security that we'll definitely look into. And today we'll do a walkthrough of the various aspects, security aspects within Dynamics 365. And what I'll also do, depending on how many people we have here, I might need to give out an assignment to the various teams within this group. So just out of interest, do we have any BAs on the session? Do we have anyone on the BA stream?
Sure.
Was that a yes?
Yeah.
Okay. And do we also have any developers?
Yes.
Okay, fab. And how many do we have from the developer stream?
I think we have 4 or 5. I think, I don't know.
Maybe we could do by raising our hands.
Okay.
So at least I can check how many are on here. So far it seems we have 3 people from the dev team, which is Adebisi, Abimbola, and Idaho, Elvis. Is that all? Okay, we've got a 4th one, Mary. Okay. Okay, fantastic. So, all right, thanks all for that. So what we'll probably start with, let's look at this thing called business units. Is anyone aware of what business units are within the Dynamics 365 context? If not, I'm happy with people taking wild guesses.
departments within the organization.
Yeah, I'll probably take that. I'll give it to you.
I
Anyone
think
else?
finance and operations.
Sorry.
Finance and operations.
That's I don't know if you're talking about Dynamics finance and operations or just finance and operations in general.
Yes, finance and yes.
Finance and operations in general.
Yes, finance and operations, yes. ERP.
Okay. So,
what about related business activities?
sorry?
Related business activities.
That's a fantastic answer. Yeah, so what it basically means is, within an organization, we do have departments, and we've got, if organizations are big, then you have divisions within that organization. So it's how an organization is structured. So we take, for instance, like maybe a major retailer. They could have, various departments within that operation or organization. So you could have, the finance department, you could have the operations department, you could have the marketing department, and so on and so forth. So it's how an organization, is structured. So it's the structuring of that particular organization. And what it is the same principle applies to, Dynamics 365 business units. And business units will be mapped, to an organization's departments, or they could be mapped to a division. So you would have, like the parent business unit sitting right at the top. And then underneath, you've got child business units, which would be, your various departments or divisions within that organizations or within that organization. So from our screen here, if you were to go to business units, there's two ways you can do that. So there's one particular way, which I'm going to show you. Can you still see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So this is one particular way you can do that, where you go through the settings, and it takes you to the settings. Once you get into the settings, you then look for the specific menu item that you want, that will take you to business units from here. Or alternatively, you could do it, in a different way. You can go, let me see if I can open another instance here. Can you all still see my screen?
Yes.
Oh, I have to, okay. Fine. Okay, bear with me. I just need to change things around here slightly. So bear with me. I need to move onto a bigger screen because I'm using a smaller screen. And it's just giving me problems. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, yeah. I'm good to go now. Okay, let me reshare my screen. I've just changed, swapped my screens here. Right, can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay, fantastic. So we are all aware of this particular space, right? Which is the admin center. Sure, Alex went into it yesterday, and I think at some point I've gone into it. But this is the Power Platform Admin Center. So for us to get to business units from this way, you need to go into the admin center here, which is adminpowerplatform.com, .microsoft.com. And from there, you navigate to environments. So we've got our environment here, which we are working with. And from there, you go on to settings. And then from settings, you navigate onto business units. So as you can notice, we've only got one business unit that we currently have in our organization. And this is the parent business unit. Because it's a top level business unit, it would not have a parent to it because it's the one which is sitting right at the top. But whatever we build or we create after this one, we can then map it onto our parent business unit. So with each business unit, you can have a parent. So we can create one and then we link it to this. This one becomes the parent. Or we can create another one, underneath. So we have two more underneath this one, and we point the two business units onto this one, meaning that this one will then have, child business units. So it's all hierarchical. It's either it's a parent and then it has children underneath it, or it's just one which is single like this one, and it doesn't have, any child business units under it. Or it could be a child business unit with a parent business unit on top. And what then happens is if you create any security roles, then the security roles are associated with the particular business unit. And with the security roles, you can assign them to everyone within that business unit, or just a subset of users, depending on their job role, or depending on what you would want them to see. And you can move, your users within business units. So you can move someone might be working, in marketing, and maybe, they've decided, what, I'm going for a promotion in the next department, which is, maybe finance or just another role in finance. You can then move them from, the existing business unit, and you can move them into a separate business unit. And with each business unit, it will have its own team members. So I'll show you how to add or remove, people into business units. and we can move them around, create security roles, and so on and so forth. So without further ado, so what we're going to essentially start on now is we'll start by creating a business unit. And keyword, it's a logical grouping of related business activities. So it's more like a container. So let's create one quick or two quick business units and see if we can play around with them a little bit. Hopefully this will load quickly and we can be on our way. Right, as you can notice, we've got our screen here that we would populate the relevant information, but for the purposes of today's demonstration, we'll probably look at maybe an organization that has got a finance department and it's probably got a marketing department, and we want to segregate our teams and put them in various business units depending on the department that they work for. So I think we'll probably quickly do maybe 2 or 3. So the mandatory field on here is the name. Anything else is optional. So if you want, you can put in the necessary information there, depending on what you want. But I always say the more information that you put in there, the better for everyone who's going to come into the system or look into it, because they'll have everything at at their fingerprints. So let's say we've got the finance department. So what we'll do is we'll create this one and close it. And let's create another one. So let's say we've got a marketing department, and notice something. We've got 3 buttons at the top here. So the first one is either we can save or we can save and close, like what we did. But this time around, let's say you are creating multiple business units and you don't want to be closing and then pressing the new button again. What you can simply do is you just save and create, and it saves you, that extra click. If you notice that department has been created and I've got my screen still here, so I don't need to go and create new again or click on new again. And then so let's say the last one will be the sales department. So this time around, I'm just going to go save. You'll see what it will do. It will save, and I've still got the screen here. But I'll then have the burden, if I don't want to create any more departments, of closing this window down. But notice something. Can anyone notice what is happening here on our screen? I've created the 3 departments, which is.
But it says it's under
sales. Sorry.
The sales is not immediately after the marketing, went above the, I don't know what we call that.
This one here.
Yeah, it went above it, yeah, down. Why did it not create under the marketing?
Okay, so we'll hold that thought. Anyone else?
Can I give it a try?
They have
No parent business.
Okay.
So I think we are talking over each other.
The three departments are linked to the parent business.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Anyone else?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, fantastic. Yep. So if you notice, this is our parent business unit that we had initially. And what we've gone on to do is we've created three child departments under it. Hence, you will notice that the parent on these ones would be the original business unit that we had. Is that making any sense?
Yep.
Okay, fantastic. So you notice we've created, the three business units that we have. And if I go in here and we select, to see who are the people in that department, you'll notice there is no one because we haven't got anyone that has been allocated into that business unit. And if we go in here, if we look at users, you will notice that we've got all these users that were created initially. So everyone is residing in the parent business unit. And also in there, we've got teams as well. So with teams, say for instance, we are looking at the finance department. I think this would be easier to everyone. So, within the finance department, there might be different teams, within the finance department. So you could have, a team that, probably deals with auditing, or you could have, a team that deals, with maybe the sales ledger, and so on and so forth. So those particular teams would then need to be built in there. So if you wanted to create teams within that particular business unit, what you then need to do is you simply go into that business unit, you pop it out, and then from there you go, and you click on teams. So if you notice, we've already got a team here in the finance department, but if we check in the team itself, there will be no one within that team. So you notice there is no people within this team because we haven't got any team members that have been allocated to this particular team. So one thing we can do is we can create, new users from there. So I'll probably call this auditing. Audit. And then from there, you select, what business unit it is. And the administrator, save and close. So when you want to then select, your team members, you can then once we've got our team members, they'll all be showing here who is within that team and so on and so forth. So if you notice within our finance department, there's no one who's currently in there. So we'll go on and add some team members in there. Or if you want, you can go on here and add more teams as well. So let's probably call this accounts. And this will be residing under there. Save and close. Go back in there again. So if you notice, we've got the two teams that I created. So that's the audit team. And there's no team members that are within here. So I'm just going to select one random account to get in there. Let's see who's going to be the unlucky one. I've added two. There you go. So if you notice now I've added two members within that team. But the whole essence of what we're trying to do is we're trying to segregate people depending, maybe on their job role. So we could have people in finance, but not everyone in finance does the same thing, on a day-to-day basis. We could have people in finance, but within finance, we've got a different team that deals with auditing. And the auditing team, maybe, there's some particular things that we would want them to only access within Dynamics 365. And we only want to restrict them, to certain bits of the system, as well as people that are working, maybe in accounts. They will probably not need to see, what maybe the auditing guys are doing. So at that point, we then segregate them, we put them in a different team. But however, we know we've put them in different teams. But what we then need to do to make sure that everything, is working well within those teams, what we then can do is we can provide, things like security roles to that particular team, so that whatever they need to do, it will be governed by the security rules or the permissions that we've given them. Is that making sense? Anyone with a question so far before I proceed?
Yes, Dan, I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, my question is it possible to edit or disable the parent business unit after creation? Maybe peradventure you now decide to change your mind. Okay, I don't want to use this particular name, then I want to use another name. Is it possible to edit or maybe disable the business parent unit?
I would say if you were to disable it, then you've disabled everything within your organization.
Okay.
So the parent business unit, this is the parent business unit. If we were to play around with this and disable it, and I don't even think you'll be able to disable it. Yes, you can, but what it effectively does is, it's like you are disabling, the head of, of the family, so to speak. So it just disables everyone. So that scenario there, I think, will probably be problematic. But the ones that you can play around with are these child business units.
Okay, thank you.
Lola, go ahead.
Yeah, you wanted to show us earlier how to get into the business unit from Dynamics 365.
Yeah, I will certainly do that in a bit.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. It will just be a slightly different interface, but trust me, it's two sides of the same coin. But I will certainly do that so that you guys can familiarize yourselves, with the other side as well.
Or if you can share the URL for the Power Apps where you were able to do it, so we can do exactly what you've done just now and test.
Yes, so like I said, what I'm going to do is just to make sure everyone is paying attention, I'm going to give an assignment today, depending on the teams that are here. And that assignment is going to test you on the things that we've spoken about today. Which is why I'm sort of like deliberately just focusing on one interface, so it makes sense. If I chop and change quickly, I'm sure you guys will probably struggle with the assignment. But I will certainly show you the other side as well. Is that okay?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
Thanks.
Anyone else with another question? Okay. So maybe for the so if you notice here, we've got our parent business unit, and if we go into that particular business unit, you can see that there's these child business units which we created. And from there, you can even drill down a little bit more to see, the various teams within those child business units. Let's size the move. So we've got here, we've gone into the finance team, and within the finance team, we can drill down a little bit more. Sorry. So we've gone into the finance. Let me go into which one did we create in? I think it was accounts. So we did not create an account, it was probably in auditing. Yep. So if you notice, you can still drill down a little bit more. So we've gone from the parent business unit. We've gone then into the child business unit, which is finance. From finance, we've gone into the teams that are within finance. And in the teams, we selected the team that we want, drill down within the teams to check who are the team members within that particular team. And these are the team members that I added which I added earlier on. So that's that would be, you know, the hierarchy of the business units. From business unit level, you then go on to team level, and then from team level you go to the users who are within that particular team. Is that making sense? Anyone with the question so far? Okay, no questions, then I'm happy for us to proceed. So here is the other side of things, and this is the URL. So all you need to do is you need to go into your environments, and this is the particular environment that we're using. And from that environment, you select your users. And if you notice under here, users and permissions, you've got business units. So you select that, toggle that, and then you select business units. And it takes you to this screen. And if we are going to go through this way, you click on your settings, then you've got a pop-up of this particular screen. And then from here, we go into security. And then from security, you can click on your business units, and boom, it takes you to this particular page. Are we all clear with that now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
It seems more straightforward here than the other one.
Yes. So the reason why I chose to go the other route is because that's the new interface where everything is actually being moved across to. So it's beneficial to you guys to familiarize yourself with that, because that's the new interface moving forward. Vis-a-vis this particular interface here is getting deprecated soon. So functionality is currently being pushed from here to the new interface. Hence, I was wanting you guys, to see the other interface, because if you are to land a Dynamics 365 role, that's most probably the interface that your organization will be using. So it's best, you familiarize with that for now, as that's a new way forward. And if I go back to security using that same old interface, you can notice that you've got your business units, you've got your teams, and then you can add your users. And from there, you can do, your usual security roles. And you can do field security profiles. If we have time, we'll dive into this today as well. And we can look at positions and access team templates. And if you wanted, to enable hierarchy security within the organization, this is where you come and you configure it here. As of now, what we have is manage hierarchy, or if you enable hierarchy model, then that will tend to that, or you can, use your custom position hierarchy. So if I go back and we look at our teams from here, we should be able to see a listing of all the teams that we have in there. So these are all the teams, and from the teams you can notice that in the finance team we've created 3 child teams in there, which is the accounts, audit, and finance, and they all belong to the finance business unit. And in marketing, there is marketing. So when you create a business unit, by default it creates a team as well with the same name as the business unit. But if you want to add a few more, you can as well do that. It's not a problem at all. And here, if I go on to the new interface, you can see this is how it looks. And with the new interface, you can see when it was modified. So we created these teams today. If you notice the date, and it will show you which is the business unit they're aligned to or they belong to. And then we look at the team types and we look at the administrator. So if you notice the ones that I created today here, and they've got my name against those particular teams. And one other thing as well that I would like us, to look at today is the security roles. Does anyone know what security roles do within Dynamics 365? Or maybe within, the general IT landscape?
Allow privileges to some staff.
Fantastic. Anyone else?
It regulates the permissions that users have on the platform.
Fantastic. So with security roles, you're basically looking at how we give people permissions, to access entities, but nowadays it's called tables. So we are giving people access to tables within the system or areas of the system. And with these security roles, they come, with quite a lot of things within the security roles. We will see when we get into them. So you can create security roles and you configure those security roles to show or to, no, I don't want to remove this. You can configure those security roles so that people can access, what it is that they want to access within the system. And as well, if you notice at the top here, there's two tabs at the bottom, at the top, sorry. You've got one where you can create a new security role, and then you can do that in the legacy application. So if I go into the legacy, this is the legacy. So if I just click on here, you'll notice there's quite a lot of things that are contained within a security role, and you can configure the security role based on a lot of things that you would want it to do. So if I start with the tabs which are right at the top there, the details is just basically telling you the basic details of the security role. And you can see that this security role is for this particular business unit, which is our parent business unit. And if I then start to go through the tabs, we'll see a lot more in there. So let's start with the core records. So with the security role, there's various permissions that you are trying, to give someone, or you are trying to append to that role. So it's either you want someone to be able to create something, or you want them to read, you want them to write, you want them to be able to delete, to append to assign, and to share. So these are the various levels that you're trying, to give someone within that record. And if you then go to the left side, it gives you a whole list of all the tables within the system, and what you want to do with that security role. So you might want someone to be able to see activities and be able to create them, delete them, or whatever, depending, on what they do on a day-to-day basis. So the business analyst would go out, or the functional consultants would go out, speak, to the business and find out what are the levels of permission that, would want to give people within that particular team. So take, for instance, you've got a junior level member within the finance team, but you do not want him to be able to delete, things on a particular entity. So what you can do is you can create a security role, and you then assign them that security role, and you do the necessary configuration in there, which will ensure that, they are able to do as and what, you would want them to do. Or for instance, it could be a junior member or people within the finance, and you don't want them to be exporting data or to be importing data within the system. So that's where, you can lock it down and make sure that people are not, able to do certain things. Or there are certain things, like bulk delete. So you can, create a view with certain type of information. And if you want, you can do a bulk delete, of that information. But if you don't want, for argument's sake, a junior member of the team to be doing, such operations, you then make sure, you lock it down here on the security role. And maybe for those elevated permissions, you probably want to give them, to someone a little bit senior within the team, maybe a supervisor or a manager within the team. And then you give them those permissions so that they're able, to do certain things. And if we go into marketing here, you can notice there's also a few things in there that you can give someone permissions or not give them permissions. You can give them permissions, to do things, on campaigns, or to do things, in relation to marketing lists. Maybe you don't want them to create, or you want them to create marketing lists, depending on their job role, as well as service. So I will not, go into each and every one of these, but I'll quickly, just go across, and you notice there is a lot of things in there that you can, configure for that particular security role. And service management, and if you create, any custom entities, you can do that here as well. And if there's any BPFs, business process flows, that you're using as an organization, where's my screen going now? Bear with me. Yeah. You can configure, various things within there, so people can do or not do what it is that you would want them to do, or what it is that you don't want them to do. So if I go back a step, so if we wanted to create a new security role, this is where it would go. But I want you to pay particular attention to something. If you notice here, we've got this drop down, and this drop down is showing all the business units that we have within the system. So if you wanted to create a security role, for the sales team, or for the finance or the marketing team, you need to make sure that you select the appropriate business unit where you would want to create that particular security role for. So if I toggle here and we're pointing to finance, if I then go here and click on the security role, so we've got a new security role that we would want to create. And for now, if you notice, it's pointing to the wrong business unit. So we just want to make sure we point it to the right. To the right business unit. Yeah, so we've got one here, which is pointing to finance. So it could be you want, a role for someone maybe who authorizes, maybe invoices or whatever the case may be. But for the purposes of this demonstration, we'll probably just, call it authorize. or authorizer, whatever the case may be. Now that we've got that, what we then do is we create a new security role. And that's the new security role that we've created. And in the tabs, you will notice that there is nothing in there. Come on. There is nothing whatsoever. So depending on what, the requirement is, you then go in here and you give them, the various permissions that, you would want them to do. So for argument's sake, let's say probably, let's go into service. Maybe we want them, to be able to create cases. So you just go on here and you notice where you are, you've got right underneath it, it will show you the privileges that, you would want to create under that particular role. So the first thing that happens is, are you wanting to give them a privilege or where they do something, at a user level, or you would want that permission, to cascade, onto business unit level. So you're saying maybe they can do stuff within the business unit, or you can say, you know what, you want them to do things, at an organization level. So if you want them to create cases at an organization level, what you simply need to do is you keep clicking on there. You can see the privileges are increasing. Now we've got it, a child business unit, and there we've got it at organization level. So you might want to say, you know what, we want them to be able to create cases, at organization level. We want them to read cases as well. We want them to, maybe write cases. Do we want them to delete maybe, the business case says, we can have them delete cases, or we can say, what, we want them to share those cases with someone. So I can create a case, and if Abimbola has got privileges, to see cases and create cases as well. What I can then do is I can create a case and maybe I can share that case with her. So it depends, on the scenario that the use case, or that particular use case that you might be working with at that particular moment in time. Or it could be, contracts within Dynamics 365, whatever it is that you would want them to do. So let's say maybe, you want them to be able to create contacts as well. Or whatever, the case may be, you give them that particular privilege. And once you do that, all you need to do is you update that security role and you save it. So by saving it, it then in the back end updates that security role. So when that particular person is added into your environment, or they're already within the environment, and you then want them, to do the extra bits, what you can simply do is you just go onto that person and you give them the extra security role. or even remove a security role. Maybe they do not need that particular security role at that moment in time. So if you notice, here is our security role that we created, and it should have all the privileges that we gave it just a little while ago. I think, where were we on service management? DB or service? Yeah. So you notice these are the privileges that we gave that particular security role. And with that security role now, you can then add it to your users as and how you see fit. Has anyone got any questions this far?
Okay. My question is, who normally create this security role to users in dynamic setting? Who is it normally assigned it to?
So if you are going to be a functional consultant, these are things that you would be doing. If you're going to be a developer, these are things that you're going to be doing as well.
Okay.
For business analysts, these are the things that you would need to go out and understand from the business, so that when you write your user stories, you're simply saying people within this particular role, they need a role that does X, Y, Z. And when that user story is picked up by a developer or a consultant, they then just look at that security role and add, the relevant permissions as per the requirement.
Okay. Thank you.
But if you are a consultant and there's something that you feel is not right, but because you've worked with the system, it's things that you can easily pick out to say, you know what, for this particular role, do we really need to make people, be able to delete things within the system? Yes or no? So you can easily challenge, those things.
Okay.
Hi, Dan.
Hi there.
Yeah, it's Patricia here. Yeah, so I have a question. So for the Zeta team, they we had the session over the week, and we talked about roles in that conversation. So well, I've seen out there where user stories are created by the BAs or functional consultant to say create security roles as part of the requirement. So one of the questions I got asked was, will there be specific roles with the kind of permissions, with specific kind of permissions and all that? So my question is, if they want to create some specific security roles, like giving some roles permission to delete, some to edit, some to view only, with the current settings for the user logins that they have, will they be able to do that?
Yes, I think they should be able to do that.
Okay.
I think Alex has given them various roles. The developers, I think they've got elevated permissions. But like I said earlier on, today what I need to do is I need to give people an assignment so that we just verify and validate that people are getting, the things that we are saying here. And it's all going to be based around what we are doing. And if there's any challenges, please shout out at the earliest.
All right. Okay, that's fine. Fantastic. We'll look out for your assignment then. Yeah. Thanks. Team Zeta, so we are clear.
Okay, thanks, Patricia. Anyone else with any other question?
I just want to ask,
Sure.
how do we get to add users? Because I know users are different from contacts. And it would be good to just see how it's done.
Yeah, sure. So whilst we are here, you are comfortable with this bit, right?
Yes.
So in the Power Platform Admin Center, if you notice here, we've got users and permissions, and that's where we add, our users from.
Okay.
So if you notice, these are the various users that we have in there for now, and you add them from here.
Okay, thank you.
Alternatively, in the other interface, this is the old interface. So if you go to settings, security, and it takes you here, and that's where you've got your users. We're all active. Enabled users. Yep. So if you notice, these are all the users that are in the system as of now. We've got about 130. But one thing also that I would want you to pay particular attention to with security roles, there is security roles that come with the system already. So there's quite a lot of roles in there that are already built into the system. So depending on what else you would want to do, like the demonstration that we did a little while ago, you can then go on, to build other security roles within the system, depending, on the use case. So I think in our case, we created a new one here in the finance business unit, and we gave them, certain permissions. Any other questions from anyone else? Come on, guys. I don't want to throw questions at people. So now, moving on, we've got, we've created a business unit, we've created our team, we've created a security role. How then do we assign that security role to someone? So what we then do is we go on to our users. So we've got our users here, and let me see if I can, I'll use myself. So if you notice, as I was saying earlier on, this is me, and you can see it. This is the team that I am in, and this is the business unit that I am in as well, right? And if you go to manage roles here, there's one thing that you'll be able to see shortly. You'll be able to see here what security roles I have. So for now, if I go down, I might have just 2 security roles. I've got the system customizer and the system administrator role. And notice that the new security role that we created, I cannot see it. Does anyone know why? We created a new security role called authorizer. Does anyone know why I cannot see that security role under my profile?
Probably didn't publish.
All right.
Sorry, I think we've got maybe 2 or 3 people. Gone, the first one.
Okay, mine was just to ask, does it need to be approved? Does it require a level of approval?
No, but good try.
Okay. And I guess
Anyone
the
else?
second person said about publishing it or something.
Okay, probably it was not assigned. You didn't assign yourself a role.
Not really. If you can notice, I can assign myself this role if I wanted to. Anyone else?
But I think the permissions granted wasn't granted to you, so you might not be able to see it, isn't it?
No, not yet, because we've already created the role and it's sitting there in the system. And I know the role is sitting in there because we've all seen it. But I think there's one tricky thing why we cannot see that role under my profile.
So that's what I'm saying, that it wasn't granted to you as a user.
Good try, but you are a little bit far off the answer.
I think you need to go into the main dynamics to add it or something.
We're already in the settings area, so this is where we add all the rows. Good try.
Could you not have had it
It's
on
not
the
there.
right top right corner at the top before it comes on?
So you're saying if we go here,
or where the plus is, I can't remember which of them.
okay, you are almost there. Come on, guys.
It's not been assigned.
Yes, it hasn't been assigned, and that's what we are trying to do now. And I'll give you a clue. It's
You need to refresh.
Not really, but you're almost there. You're quite close.
Save.
Not quite, because we've already got it saved in the system. So if you notice one thing, we created our role within the finance business unit, correct? Not within the parent business unit. So I wouldn't see the role, because the roles that are being displayed here are for this particular business unit. If you notice all the roles here, they've got one particular business unit against them. Okay, so let's do something slightly different. So let's go to our business units. So I think we create something in finance. So I just want to get the users in there. Was it accounts? I think it was accounts. No, so it was, what do you think? Right. So just we've got these two people here within this particular business unit. So let's use them as our test case then. So we've got dams here. Okay. Let's go to users. Oh, what we did not do. So let me change this one and put them in a different business unit for now, so that it becomes easier. Or maybe I can play around with my record. I think that'll be easiest. So we don't create too much confusion. This is taking a bit of time. Let's see if we can push it a little bit more. Now we're going to use this. So now if you then go to my record. So this is, for argument's sake, you know, person, you know, we want to play around with, and you know, we then need to move them into a different business unit, which is the finance, where we'll be able to see that record. If I take that out, you know, we've got a finance, we add them to finance. And nice. Remove this one. Okay. Why is it failing to refresh? Principal user, privilege. No, that's one. So now it's only try a different username. Bear with me 1 second. And whilst this is spinning and taking its sweet time, does anyone have a question? I'll do something quite quickly now. So from here, we can only add users, from the admin portal. But I'm not so sure if I've got access to the admin portal. I doubt it highly. Yeah, I don't have access to the admin portal. So probably what we can do is let's just give this person, what I'm simply going to do is I'm just going to give them a role that's already existing, within the business unit that they're in, which is the parent business unit. So if you notice at the present moment, they don't have a role at all. So depending on, the job role, we might decide, to give them, a particular role. So maybe they might be working in the sales team. So what we do is already, you can see that there are security roles that are already in the system. And all you need to do is just to toggle, select the particular security role that you want, and then you add it onto them. It's giving me an error. Let's delete that. Let's do it again. Number for them. Okay. Yeah, I think it's just our system playing silly buggers. Enable users. Okay, that's fine. But I think these ones have got security groups. Yeah. These ones, I think they are assigned using security groups, but let's see if we can give them an extra role. Sales team. Wow. Yeah, so that's worked. So if you notice, we've given them a extra security role. If I refresh this, should be able to see the extra role against their name. So manage roles. So there is the extra security role against the name. So that's how easy it is, to add or remove security roles to an account or to a user within the system. Anyone else with any other question? I think conscious of our time, I'll probably leave the last 15 minutes for question and answer. And maybe in the next lecture, we can look at field security profiles. Anyone with any questions, please feel free. Fire away. No questions? So I think the assignment that I'm going to give out is the first thing. I need a new business unit that we're going to have, and for the new business unit, we'll probably call it advertising. So the first thing that I need is creation of a new business unit. Maybe let me put up something on the screen here, and we agree to the deliverables. Then number 2, this business unit would be okay. And this is our parent. And then from there, third thing is we need 2 teams in there. Teams, and feel free to give them whatever names you want, or any appropriate names you want. And then within the 2 teams, I need add a list, 1 team member. Are we all clear with this?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So, yep, that's what I would want you guys to do. When we get to the next session next week on Thursday with Alex, I'll be there. I think what we'll quickly go through is this to see if you've managed to grasp the concept.
A quick question, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I'm just like kind of thinking, because there are only 35 of us here, and we might want to just put this assignment in the group for others. So the number 3 points. First is clear, second is clear, but the number 3 point, we're going to have questions coming back to say 2 teams. What does that mean? What do they need to do there?
Okay.
Yeah.
So add or create. And
Thanks.
I think this the last one. I'm going to call it 5 point. I'll probably just call it 6 so that it doesn't confuse people. In the security role, bear with me 1 second. Definitions to 8. So yeah, so that would be it. And I think lastly, yeah, so that would be it. Do you want me to put what I've just typed in the chat window?
Yes, please. Yeah.
So there you have it.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Number 6 and 7 says add permission to create read. Will that be to the new security role or to user?
This you add the security roles to you add the permission, sorry, to the security role.
Okay.
Mhm. So to a security role, you add permissions. So you add permissions to a security role. And then the security role itself, you add it to user, or you assign it to a user. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other question? Pat, can I leave this with you to sort out the teams?
Yeah. What do you want me to sort out?
The teams, whoever is going to be working on this, however you want to do it.
Okay,
I know you've got BAs. Maybe you might want the BAs, to write the, user stories. They give it
Do
to
you
the
mean?
team.
Okay. Do you mean the assignment?
Yes, indeed.
Oh, well, okay. I think we'll just have a session together with the developers and the functional consultants, and we.
Yep. So I would say for the functional consultants, let them be sort of like the BAs.
Okay.
They come up, yes, that's the requirement, but let them write, the user stories. They
Okay.
pass it on to the dev team. The dev team can do whatever they have to do. But the functional consultants as well, they will need to still do this part. So the functional consultants will do two parts, writing the user stories and the actual, configuration and dev. And the dev team will just take whatever has been provided by the functional consultants as a requirement, and then they do whatever needs to be done.
Okay, sure.
And then when we get together on Thursday, first thing we'll quickly go through this. Maybe we'll give it maybe 15 minutes or so. If everything is fine, then Alex will just carry on with whatever he's got planned for that day or that evening, right?
Okay. Yeah. What we would work on it. I think Team Zeta, we might have to look at this and see where we put this. It would probably be for the next sprint, but we will still do the assignment in preparation for a show and tell next Thursday, I believe. Sure. I think that would be good. So, it might be like for us to have a proof of concept.
Exactly. Because what I was wanting us to do is once they get this going, we can then bring it in, be it whenever you want us to do the show and tell, they do the show and tell.
Okay.
And we agree or disagree to their work, and provide the relevant feedback.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's
that fine. I think that way we learn and embed the knowledge.
Yeah, Absolutely. So, Team Omega, you have your team lead. So I will leave you to drive. I'll leave the team lead to drive this assignment, and I'll suggest that Team Omega you probably will find it. How do I put it now? You'll find it interesting if you try your hands on writing user stories for this. User stories that is testable. Yeah, testable user stories as well, so that those are developers in the team would know what it would look like if you want to create a user story from this. Those that testers would know what it looks like if you want to test a user story written from this requirements, because this is basically like a requirement. Okay, so let's get to work, guys. It's getting more interesting now. Thanks.
Yeah, I think we are starting to get to that part where things are beginning to get interesting, because I would want everyone to get their hands dirty now.
Thank you so much, Dan.
So guys, yeah, that's the challenge. Let's see if we can pull the rabbit out of the hat, but I'm sure it's possible. It's doable. Straightforward, I think. Okay, so if there's no any other questions, I will probably say thank you to everyone for joining, and let's meet again, same time, same place next week.
Cheers. Have a good weekend.
Same to you all. Bye now.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye and safe journey, everyone.